What's up, guys? Here we are once again with another episode of Where's the Deals, the series where I go online in search for good, bad, and outrageous video game listings. Before I start, I need to give a huge shout out to a longtime subscriber of mine, Peter Ramirez, for making this sweet ass logo for my channel. I've never had anyone do something like this for me, especially out of the blue before, and I gotta say that was pretty damn awesome of you. His Instagram will be in the description of this and any future videos on my channel. So for our first listing, we have 10 PS2 games for $40. The seller claims they have no idea if the games are worth anything, and he is willing to take an offer instead. Thing is, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 is a hard to find game that is worth around $40 by itself, so if you really wanted everything in this listing, it's more than worth the money. The other games really aren't worth much here, but there's a couple good titles in there like Hot Wheels Beat That and Project Snowblind, which is pretty underrated if you ask me. Nevertheless, it's a solid deal. I don't see these too often, an Intellivision with the box for $40. He listed this box in rough shape. Yeah, it's not great by any means, but shit, I've seen Intellivision boxes and consoles themselves in significantly worse condition and by sellers who have wanted a hell of a lot more for them. In a way, I'm kind of impressed on how clean the system appears. $40, all things considered, isn't really that bad at all. I think these tend to go for double that price on eBay with the box, although, as usual, I could always be wrong about that. Here's another thing I don't come across too often. A Game Gear bundled with 5 games and a plug-in charger. $95 though. So, my problem with this listing is that the games, I can buy them any day of the week from local shops for $2 to $3, maybe $5 for the Mortal Kombat. The Game Gear console is also not expensive either, and the market for them is very niche. People do not care about this system that much, part because the screen is not all that great. Yes, you can mod them to make them look fantastic by replacing the screen with something of much higher quality and a better light source, but if you're gonna do that, you might as well find a system for super cheap and not something like this for $95. 50 games, $10 a pop, or $250 for all. Apparently great for resellers. No, not even sort of, especially since the games in this listing are not worth $10 each. Hell, most of them are barely even worth 3 or 4, so yeah, this is probably one of the most overpriced bundles I've come across in quite some time here. Regardless that yes, there are plenty of good, great, or even decent titles in here, I would very much struggle with wanting to pay even $100 for everything. A Sega Genesis Model 3 for $35. Comes with all the cords, controllers, game cleaner, and a handful of games. It's not a bad deal whatsoever. I've seen people charge anywhere from $20 to $50 for a Model 3 Genesis. The games included aren't valuable by any means, but there's some good titles here. It's definitely worth more than $35 that he's asking. If you are looking for a Genesis bundle for whatever reason, something like this wouldn't even be a bad option whatsoever. Super Nintendo with 21 games, 2 controllers, all the cords for $80. The price isn't horrible, but the main issue I'm having here is that most of the games are sports titles, which as we all know, are a hard thing to sell unless they are rare, special Mario versions of the game, or perhaps they're just very, very good and sought after. The only couple non-sports games in this listing are Super Scope 6, Mario Paint, and Battle Clash. However, he does not have the Super Scope or the mouse controller for the game, so that kind of takes away a lot of the enjoyment and, well, the point of those particular titles. Yeah, I'm sure this listing is worth more technically speaking if you were to sell everything separately. It's just a hard sell unless you're a person who is really into Super Nintendo sports titles. At first glance, I didn't give a shit about this listing. I filed it under the who cares bunch. And then I came across it over and over, and I began to pay more attention to the games included. $25 is not a bad price considering Ico, which is a criminally underrated game, and both those Crash titles more than make up the asking price of this listing. The other games are just a bonus at that point. I was also very shocked to come across MLB Power Pros there on the top right. That game you don't come across very often. Yeah, it's not very expensive, but regardless. Plenty of great games in this listing. I would offer $20 just for shits, but even then, I'll take it for $25. It's a damn good deal. This next listing is pretty fantastic. From what it looks like, he has 36 PS2 games, along with a couple of slim consoles for apparently $100. It's a shockingly great deal if you take into consideration PS2 Slims complete with the cords, a controller, and maybe even a memory card are valued at around $50, give or take. And the games... Wow! He's got both the Destroy All Humans titles, a few Grand Theft Auto games, the Sly Cooper trilogy, 4 great Star Wars games, Max Payne, and War of the Monsters. $100. I'm shocked this is even still around. $15 for each game. Huh. Well, good luck, I guess, because a lot of the games are not worth $15, let alone $10. I guess the 2 games that are close to being worth $15 are Super Mario World and Final Zone, but I could be wrong. And God help the person who buys NHL Hockey 93 for $15. Sweet baby Jesus, is that overpriced. $5 a piece for any of the Wii games. It's a good deal, for the most part. I'd absolutely snag up all the Mario games, especially Mario Galaxy, which I love, and Animal Crossing. Sadly, though, I honestly really dislike the Wii Super Mario game. I couldn't even explain to you why. I've always disliked that game to the point it's unbearable for me to play. That being said, I haven't played it for like 10 fucking years, so who knows, I probably would like it now. Anyway, if it were me, I would see if they would end up doing some sort of a deal on everything. A lot of great games here, and if anything, you could always try reselling the games you don't want, or you have duplicates of. I'm assuming this guy is saying all the games are $1 a piece and not $11 each? Only because that wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. Anyway, for $1 each, there's a few good things here. Nothing really amazing, but for the price, what do you expect? There is a Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2, which I think is the most expensive game here at maybe $8 to $10. Either way, decent value in this listing. It just depends on if you're interested in everything or just a couple games. For our final listing today is a 32 gig Wii U in the box, a bunch of Wii and Wii U games, a carrying case, and a couple controllers for only $125? Where do I begin with this one? It's a great deal, all things considered. You're getting a ton of stuff for such a good price. I see Wii U's alone sell for $100, so the fact that you're getting the controllers, the original box, and a lot of just flat-out wonderful games for basically $25 extra is an absolute steal. If this listing wasn't so far away from where I live, I honestly would have bought this in a heartbeat and then just sold off the duplicate games. So that's going to do it, everyone. I was actually really shocked this time around to come across so many great deals. Usually it's the opposite, and I find stupid shit or like stuff that's not even worth talking about, but this episode came very easily for me. Anyway, I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you all very much for watching, like always. Again, huge shout out to Peter Ramirez for the logo. I very, very much appreciate it. And as always, take care of yourselves.